The paper bag was soft in her hands, still warm from the takeout container inside. Kian's favorite, sesame garlic noodles from that little spot near their old apartment. The place he used to swear made the city's best soy fried tofu. Folded neatly beside it, protected in plastic sleeves, were two drawings. One from Eli, a stick figure superhero labeled Daddy, and one from Amelia, a crayon heart with all their names written crookedly inside. She hadn't worn perfume in weeks, but tonight she dabbed on the vanilla rose he used to compliment without thinking. She caught her reflection, and the corners of her lips fought to rise. Not for him, she murmured to herself. For you. Just say hi. Just remind him. The nanny gave her a nod as she stepped out. The city air was cold, but not bitter. She drove quietly, fingers curled gently around the wheel, eyes glancing toward the seat beside her where the bag sat, like a peace offering. The streetlight streaked gold across the windshield. At every red light, she checked her makeup in the rear view, then practiced a neutral smile. Just say hi. The lobby of Lancer Global was marble and steel, too bright even at night. The receptionist looked up from behind his desk and blinked at her. He was young, maybe an intern, but her tone was practiced and soft, the kind that opened doors. Just dropping off dinner for my husband. He's working late. The boy glanced at the security log. Mr. Lane? Era smiled, lifting the bag. He probably forgot to eat again. He nodded quickly and buzzed her through. The elevator hummed up to the top floor. Her reflection multiplied across the mirrored walls. Tired eyes, soft scarf, hopeful expression that felt stolen from a younger version of herself. The doors opened with a ding. The executive floor was mostly dark, lit only by emergency lights and the night skyline bleeding in through glass walls. It felt like walking through a spaceship, sterile, quiet, detached. Then she saw them. Not clearly at first, just two silhouettes, standing close in the glowing rectangle of Kian's office. One leaned slightly forward. The other didn't pull away. She slowed. The door was glass. Not tinted, not hidden, just there. Kian's hands rested lightly on Celine's waist. Her palms framed his jaw. Their mouths met slow and practiced, like this wasn't the first time, like they weren't pretending anymore. Aira didn't drop the bag. Not immediately. Her fingers simply went slack, and it slid down her side. The thud against the carpet absurdly gentle. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. She just stood there, 5 feet from the man she married, watching him kiss another woman with the same mouth he used to whisper, "I love you," into her hair. The bag tilted. Ira turned. No sound, no scene, no words, just turned, and walked back to the elevator with steps so soft they didn't even echo. The city outside was neon lit and fast moving, a river of color she couldn't look at. She drove on autopilot, one hand still on the scarf at her throat like it was the only thing keeping her upright. At a red light, she exhaled. That was when it hit her, not gently. A sob, sharp and feral, broke from her chest without warning. It exploded into the car like glass shattering. She pressed one hand over her mouth, shoulders jerking once, violently, then silence. Only the sound of the turn signal. Blinking, blink, blink. Flashback. 5 years ago. She was angry. They had fought, stupidly, about money. He'd raised his voice. She'd locked herself in the bedroom. Hours passed. She found him outside the door, drenched from the rain, holding takeout and whispering through the wood, "I can't eat unless you're with me." When she opened it, his hands were trembling. So were hers.
They sat cross-legged on the floor, sharing spring rolls and apologies. He kept brushing raindrops from her hair, even after they'd dried. Back to present now. She was the one with food in her lap and no one beside her. No rain, no door to knock on, no arms to crawl into. She entered the house quietly. The lights were off. The twins were asleep, curled in their beds like commas in a sentence she no longer knew how to finish. She kissed each forehead. In the master bedroom, the silence was colder than usual. Her heels echoed once across the hardwood floor. She sat on the edge of the bed and finally took them off, one at a time. She locked the bedroom door. Her knees hit the carpet by the bedside, not with drama but with exhaustion, and she folded, forward, over the mattress, into her own arms. No sound, just the muffled shake of a woman who broke without witnesses. Tears soaked into the sheets long past midnight. Her hands stayed clenched in the fabric until the sky outside shifted from black to deep, aching gray.
The morning sunlight streamed in through the windows like nothing had happened, like the night before hadn't shattered her. Ira stood at the kitchen counter, pouring cereal into bowls for the twins. Her hands moved automatically. Milk, spoons, juice cups, every detail exactly as it had been for years. Except now, her breath came in silent intervals, like she had to remind herself to do it. Her smile for the children was soft, but faint, ghostly. Kian came down the stairs later than usual, hair tousled, buttoning his shirt as he walked. No tie, no words of apology. He moved like a man inside a world untouched by consequence. He kissed Eli's head, ruffled Amelia's hair. They squealed like always, delighted by his brief attention. Then his eyes met Ira's. She handed him his coffee. He took it without a word. She waited until the twins were distracted. Then quietly, so quiet he almost didn't hear it. "Did you stay late last last night? Kian sipped. Yeah, the Chang projections needed cleanup. Celine's team stayed too. Her gaze didn't leave his face. Her voice never lifted. Did anything happen? He blinked. Like what? Her lips parted slightly. Between you and her? Kian's pause was short, but it was a pause. He smiled, shrugged. Of course not. Come on, Ira. Not a flinch, not a single sign of guilt. She studied his face for another second, then smiled. It was small, even gracious, and it cut through him more than anger ever could. The next morning, he found a white envelope on the table. No note, no scene, just divorce papers, filed, signed. And on the top page, in her soft slanted handwriting, you had your chance. Kian stood there for a long time, not moving, staring at the paper like it might evaporate if he blinked. He turned around, half expecting her to be behind him, watching, crying, pleading for some reaction, but she wasn't. She had already taken the kids to school and left his ring on the kitchen counter. Not peaceful, not tragic, just quiet. Iris sat on the edge of a borrowed couch, the upholstery rough under her palms, listening to the hum of the fridge in a kitchen half the size of her old closet. Boxes still lined the walls. The kids' drawings were taped to the fridge, too low because they'd insisted on doing it themselves. The silence was different here, not heavy, just honest. She looked down at her hands, calloused from chores, fingers twitching. Her laptop sat open in front of her, screen glowing with a game engine she hadn't touched in 5 years. The moment she moved the mouse, the code lit up again. Lines of logic and creativity blending like a language she'd almost forgotten, but never unlearned. Ira exhaled, straightened her back, and opened a folder labeled Dreams, Old. Sketches, mechanics, level maps, a whole world that once belonged only to her. Time to try again. 2 weeks later, she walked through the sleek glass doors of Nova Studios. They were nothing like Kian's company. No chrome, no suits, no silence. The air buzzed with music, sketches pinned to walls, whiteboards crammed with ideas. Someone had drawn a unicorn with sunglasses over the reception desk. Interview for the design assistant, she told the front desk girl, who smiled like it was the best thing she'd heard all day. They walked her through winding halls, past shared workspaces, neon lights, and shelves stacked with board games. The air smelled like coffee and brain cells overheating. And then she froze. In the meeting room stood a man in a navy hoodie and glasses, typing one-handed on a tablet while sipping something from a ceramic skull mug. He looked up, paused, smiled, slowly. Wow, he said, standing. Ira Lane, you used to crush me in every programming contest in senior year. She blinked. Noah? Noah Varon, that awkward, bookish kid who always sat in the back with headphones too big for his head. Except now he wasn't awkward, or a kid. I run this place, he said, still smiling. But don't worry, you're not disqualified just for being smarter than me in high school. Ira laughed, softly, but genuinely, for the first time in what felt like years. By the end of the interview, she was hired. You're rusty, Noah said, reviewing her old game demo, but the bones are better than most of what I've seen from trained grads. And your notes? Sharp, honest, you'll catch up. I'll work twice as hard. He sipped from his mug. You don't have to. Just don't hold yourself back. Ira walked out into the afternoon sun, her job offer in her pocket, and felt something inside her unclench. She hadn't just survived. She was beginning.